In this video, I will explain to you everything you need to know about the work and holiday visa in Australia. Hello, my name is Franco. I'm Argentinian, I'm 22 years old, and I've been traveling since I was 18. So first I did 2 years in New Zealand, then I did 2 years in Australia on a working holiday visa, and now I'm here in Germany. So what is the working holiday visa? As the name suggests, it is a visa allows you to live in a certain country, in this case Australia, for anywhere between 3 months to 1 year. Usually it's the 1 year one. And as the name suggests, it is a work and holiday visa. So it's meant for you to be able to do work and for you to be able to travel. All right, so let's go into what are the prerequisites that you're gonna need if you want to get an Australian working holiday visa. So first of all, you'll need around 500 Australian dollars to start the paperwork for the visa. And you are gonna have to be able to prove that you have around 5,000 Australian dollars in your bank account. This has been done by many people. I am not legally suggesting that you do this, but many people just have a friend or a family member or someone transfer them around 5,000 US dollars, just so you can take a screenshot or get a bank statement of you having that money in your account. Once you get the visa, you can send that money back. And considering that it is super easy to get a job in Australia, there's jokes about people just sneezing or falling asleep and waking up with a new job. It really isn't a problem. I've met so many people that have traveled to Australia with about $800 or less in their bank account. So as long as you have a way to prove to the government that you have $5,000 in your bank account at the time of starting the process for the visa, you should be fine. Now, I have not told you this, it's just something that I've heard from other people. If you need more information about how to start the process itself, you should check the government website of Australia. Now let's explain what does it mean when people talk about these 88 days. So as I said, there are ways to extend your visa. It usually goes for a year, but many people stay on a work and holiday for 3 years or longer. The way you do this is in the first year, you need to do at least 3 months of seasonal work. Now, usually this is in the form of orchard work, but you can also work at certain hospitality jobs in certain restaurants and certain hotels, but it needs to be specific places that are accredited to give you 88 days. So you need to make sure that wherever you're going, they can offer you that, because they need to count these days, and you need to be able to prove to the government that you have done this so that they can extend your visa. So important information for the 88 days is that if you work 5 days a week, it's going to count like 7 days. So make sure that you work at least 5 days a week wherever you can. I'm saying this because sometimes we're doing physical work, so maybe one day you really don't feel like going, but you should always go to work. Especially in orchard work, there's going to be many days where it rains or there's certain weather conditions that don't allow you to go to work. Obviously, orchard work is very dependent on the weather. Don't worry, those days off are going to come definitely. So don't do yourself a disfavor by taking days off yourself. So as I said, it's 3 months if you want to extend the first year, and once you have gotten the extension, you would have to do 6 months on the second year for you to be able to get the third year. Now, important information here is you cannot bunch that all up in the first year. So don't try to do 9 months in the first year, because that will not count. You need to make sure you do the first 3 months in 1 year and then 6 months in the next year. Another thing to take into consideration with the work and holiday visa in Australia is that you can only stay in one specific job for up to 6 months. Now, there is a nice little hack to this. You can spend the last 6 months of a given year in a job, and then every year that resets. So you could spend the last 6 months of 1 year and the next 6 months of the next year, and that would be 1 year, but it would still count as 6 months per year. Another thing with the 88 days is that, again, because of the weather, many times, and this happened to me, it's going to take you more than 3 months to get the 88 days. So make sure you do this as soon as you arrive to Australia. You don't want to wait until the last moment and be all stressed out. It's much better for you to just get that out of the way, and then as soon as you're done with that, you can work in a city, at a restaurant, you can do a normal kind of job, but you need to get those 88 days out of the way as soon as possible. All right, so next let's talk about the award rates in Australia, and this is a big reason why so many people move to Australia, because it has some of the highest living wages in the world. It is very employee friendly, and yeah, let's talk about some of the award rates. So first, Monday to Friday evening work. So casuals get paid 150 50% of their minimum wage on ordinary hours worked after 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday. So the thing with casuals is you get paid more. So last time I checked, this might have updated now, but last time I checked, the minimum wage in Australia for a full-time worker was about $21 an hour. Now, if you're a casual, you get around $27, $28 an hour. So that's a pretty big difference. And the reasoning behind this is that because you're only working for about 3 months at any given job, you won't get certain advantages like pay, holiday leave, and that sort of stuff. So the government compensates by paying you this. So this is great. This is a big advantage. I've done so many jobs where I've earned quite a lot more money than the Australian people that were working there. And I don't care about holiday leave because my holidays are going to be more than a month anyways, because I was on a work and holiday visa. So holiday was part of the experience. So on Saturday work, we also get paid 150%, so times and a half for the ordinary hours worked. And on Sundays, we get 175% of our wage. But the best one by far is public holiday work. On these days, we get 250% our wage. So you can make the calculations yourself. Depending on what wage you're going to earn. There's a high chance that you'll earn more than $28 an hour. But yeah, make sure to make the most out of evening hours, to make the most out of weekend hours, and to make the most out of public holidays. And another important thing is to make sure that you're actually getting these award rates. That's why I'm explaining them to you, because there are many companies that don't take this into consideration, and not doing this is illegal. So if they do that, they are definitely abusing you, like they're taking advantage of you. So either talk to them about this and try to get what you deserve, or just go to a different company. So now that we've covered a little bit about the prerequisites for the working holiday visa in and of itself, let's talk about what you can do once you already get it and once you've already arrived in Australia. So one of the most important things for me is to buy a car as soon as you can. Unless you live in Melbourne or in Sydney or one of the big cities, public transport is really not going to be very good. And obviously Australia is a very big country and you're going there to travel. Buy a car. It can be a cheap car if you can afford it. A camper van is probably even better. But yeah, that's super important. And then on the topic of finding jobs, as I said, finding jobs in Australia is very easy, and there are a lot of jobs that are more geared towards work and holiday makers where you can make a lot of money in a short amount of time. So some of the examples are, for example, mining, solar mining, orchard work, pack house jobs, tourism jobs, and construction jobs. For example, the people holding the signs, whenever there's a construction in a road, if you're the guy holding the sign that tells cars to go that way instead of that way, you can be earning up to $40 or up to $60 an hour. A lot of these jobs, I haven't done them, to be honest. I'm just talking out of experience from other people. But yeah, it's super recommended that you look into it if you want to go to Australia. So the mining and solar mining jobs, these are pretty crazy. Again, I haven't done this, but I've heard of people that have made like $100,000 in 6 months. So it's absolutely insane. You do need some experience to be able to do this. The reason is that you are going to the middle of nowhere and you're going to places where most people don't want to go. So these are called fly in, fly out jobs. So you just fly towards the location, you do the job for 3-6 months, whatever it needs to be, and then you fly back out, because nobody actually would like to live there for anything that's not working. It's called mining jobs, but if you're the cleaner in one of the mining sites, you're technically also doing a mining job. And usually accommodation is paid for you. Food might also be paid for you. So it's super easy to save a lot of money. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that if you want to do, for example, tourism jobs, or you want to work at a restaurant or a bar or something like that, you're going to need an RSA, which is a certificate, like a responsible service of alcohol certificate. For example, if you're working at a casino, you need a different one. I forgot the name, but I think it's RSGA or something like that. Like it includes gambling. And if you want to work in construction or you want to work in mining, you're going to need what's called a white card. So white card is what you get when you work in construction. It's relatively easy to get. It's just more than anything about health and safety. And if you want to work in construction sites, you're probably going to have to take other courses on top of that. Another option is you could work as a forklift driver. This one's probably a bit harder to get into because you need to pay like $400 to get the course to get it. But once you do this, you can earn a lot of money as a forklift driver. So yeah, that's another thing to take into consideration. If you want to make a bunch of money in Australia, you probably should already come with the idea of getting your RSA and your white card as soon as possible. All right, so going back to the thing with the car, you obviously need a driver's license. You can use any driver's license as long as it's written in English. So I have an Argentinian driver's license, which is written in Spanish, but then it has a slash and everything is also in English. So I was able to use that with no problems. And then another thing that is just like a more holistic thing to think about. Obviously you're doing work and holiday. So you want to plan your work around your holidays. So for example, if you're doing seasonal work, you're doing orchard work, you want to make sure that you plan for the best fruit. So what are the seasons for cherries? What are the seasons for strawberries, for avocados? And you want to make sure that you go to those places and you work through the whole season with them, which is usually 3 months, 1 to 3 months. Whenever you're done with that, you maybe have a bit of time to kill between that season and the season of a different fruit, and that is going to be the best time for you to travel. So yeah, that's just another thing to take into consideration, but I'll definitely go more into detail with those things more in the future. That's pretty much it. Let me know if there's any questions that I have left unanswered. Is this something that you are considering doing in the future? And if so, what kind of job would you prefer to do? If you want to watch more videos about traveling, you can watch maybe this video or maybe this video. See ya.